Because it's a time and a place for everything. I'm not gonna say he's right and I'm not gonna say he's wrong. You know, but it's so crazy. When he spoke about it, I could have easily came out and said, yeah, you spoke about it. I ain't have to say nothing.
People, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
I really don't know. Anything can happen, man. You know, possibilities. Possibility. I would love to see a rematch, but it may happen, it may not.
Floyd Mayweather has reacted on the Gervonta Davis-Lamont Roach rematch. He sounded off on the situation, saying that Tank performed badly in the first fight and he should have avoided the rematch. In response, Tank openly accused Mayweather of being self-centered and unwilling to recognize the success of other fighters. Davis thinks Mayweather's reluctance to support the rematch stems from jealousy and the need to stay in the spotlight.
First of all, Floyd don't never want to see no one like a fighter do better than them. Why the say Terrence Crawford should fight? Finna be there. That don't make no fucking sense. He don't never want to see nobody be better than him. I'm telling you.
Next in line. Just so you next in line.
Is there like a
The last question, guys.
Is there like a love-hate for Floyd? Like,
yeah,
the fighter?
Yeah, I love the fighter. Like, I ain't gonna lie, if he was like chill, like he'll be the smoothest. But he's not. You know what I mean? He's a great fighter. And my bad. And he cause I don't want to say like he's just a scumbag, but it's like he's a great fighter, and sometimes he can be good, but it's like it's always I'm this.
Gervonta Davis's departure from Mayweather Promotions was surrounded by major controversy. Is chose to part ways, with the promotion was marked by public disputes and disagreements with Floyd Mayweather. These problems highlighted the complexities of their working relationship, as both men had contrasting views on how Davis's career should be managed. The public nature of their fallout brought attention to the power dynamics within boxing promotions and showcased the challenges faced by athletes when choosing between personal autonomy and the support offered by established figures in the sport.
Gervonta said, "I'm not signed to a single soul." So is Tank now a free agent, or is he still signed with Mayweather Promotions?
Well, this is the Mayweather-Deji press conference. So I'm here to talk about Dubai. I'm here to talk about entertaining the people, having fun. And I'm not here to talk disrespectful or bad about any fighter. You know, they say America is the land of the free. You know, so we live, we love, and we keep striving each and every day. That's what life is about.
Bernard Hopkins, a legendary figure in boxing, recently shared his view on Gervonta Davis's career. According to Hopkins, Davis needed to break free from the chains that were limiting him, with those chains being the power and control of Floyd Mayweather Promotions. Hopkins stressed that the level of control Mayweather had over Davis's career stopped him from fully realizing his potential by leaving Mayweather Promotions. Davis gained the freedom to make his own choices regarding his fights, including whether or not he wanted a rematch with Lamont. Roach. Hopkins felt that this newfound autonomy would help Davis to thrive as a fighter, making decisions based on his own desires rather than external pressures.
I commend Tank on saying, hey, this is my career, you had yours. I respect you from buying me a chain, buying me this, buying me that, take me on a jet. All that's great, but at the end of the day, I'm only going by his interview. You seen it and I seen it. Thank you, Floyd Mayweather, for all the things you gave me. If the intentions was you just looking out for me. But I got an opportunity to fight this big fight. And this soap opera between you and Oscar for all these years, I'm not gonna let it affect me. That's my interpretation. And Tank wants to do the fight, but he had to break away from the chains of somebody he still respects and respected then. And he said, man, I gotta do what I gotta do. This is my career.
The initial fight between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach was marred by controversy, especially regarding the officiating referee, Steve Willis, who faced significant criticism for not giving points to Roach during crucial moments in the fight. Many think that the referee's actions unfairly impacted the outcome, and as a result, the fight ended in a contentious draw. In response to the growing debate, Davis challenged his critics, saying that they could settle the dispute in a rematch. Davis made it clear that he was ready to prove himself once again in the ring, eager to silence any questions about his skills and abilities as a fighter. The controversial nature of the initial fight created a perfect chance for a rematch, one that Davis was more than willing to accept in order to reaffirm his dominance.
I don't know what the just happened. You're a referee. You should have seen what's going on. Why I would have, if I'm in the corner, I'm erratic in between rounds. What was your feeling in between rounds when you seen that?
We was going off. My assistant coach, Ben Johnson, he was going off on him. Like, hey Steve, what the wrong with you? He was cursing him out and everything. He was like, that was a knockdown.
Yeah,
he just stood off and waved us off, and he was like,
yeah, because for me, one person would have been having to deal with Lamont, and the other would have been the whole 60 seconds.
Yeah, that's how I was. I was dealing with him, and my man Ben was dealing with the rough.
Right.
We got his attention along with the low blows as well. I was like, how many blows you gonna let us hit us with?
Right.
Take a point. And then he finally warned him like in the 11th round.
That's crazy. Is there anybody in boxing media or media in general, because nobody picked you guys to win at all. Nobody. I mean, I've seen you guys go on promotional tours from whether it was boxing podcast to the Breakfast Club. Nobody picked you guys to win. Like, when you get a second, you grab me a water. Sorry. And is there anybody that you got, I know because it's more than one person, but is there anybody, thank you, that you took personal out of all the interviews that you did? Is it one or two people or three people that you be like, this right here, anybody else, but I want to prove this one person wrong?
It's not necessarily that I wanted to prove them wrong, so I wanted everybody to shut the fuck up, for real.
Yeah.
Like, but I already said it.
Gervonta Davis, eager to arrange a rematch with Lamont Roach. Knowing that his reputation was affected by their first fight, he sees the rematch as a chance to show his dominance, settle unfinished business, and reaffirm his place among the world's top fighters.
We gotta talk about it. So, Tank officially came out and says that he wants to put this rematch as early as May. Now, if that were to happen, Lamont Roach gets a second time to prove himself. Now, in my personal opinion, his stock has already risen. He is already notable. The fact that he went toe-to-toe with Tank on a decision that ended in a draw, whether he loses this second fight or not won't even matter. Because he's directly in line to go against the Keyshawn Davis, the Shakur Stevensons, and etc., the Devin Haney's, and etc. I can see him moving up and going against Devin Haney or Ryan Garcia or somebody like that. So many people to fight. Lamont Roach has definitely proven himself. But let's talk about something else. And that is the hairstylist situation. In my humble opinion, I believe she should have been quiet. As a hairstylist, there was nothing for you to say. No fan in boxing was going to look at them like, I don't want her braiding my hair. No one would have said that. But she hurt herself when she came out and publicly made multiple claims, got all these receipts that no one needed, no one asked for, saying, oh, this had no grease or oil in it. No one cares. Nobody even believes it. Sometimes it's best to remain quiet. But you guys let me know in the comments. Should she have remained quiet, or should she have did what she did, which is spoke up? You let me know.
Jeff Mayweather Floyd's father expressed surprise at the controversial result of the first Davis versus Roach fight. He admits to being taken aback by how things unfolded in the ring. Despite this, Jeff Mayweather emphasized that he is a big fan of Gervonta Davis and did not consider the event a robbery. However, he recognized that Lamont Roach's performance impacted Davis's reputation, with fighters who once feared Davis now feeling more confident to face him, raising questions about his dominance in the ring.
Lamont Roach, first of all, you surprised that everybody's wanting to see a rematch between these two because no one expected it to be a close fight in the first place.
That much is true. And me, myself, I mean, I'm a big Tank fan. And I was shocked. At the outcome of the fight.
Who did you have winning the fight?
I had Roach winning the fight.
Yeah. Do you consider robbery, or do you lean Roach and are cool with the draw?
I wouldn't say it was a robbery. I mean, the fight was close. But if I was a judge, I would have gave Roach the fight.
All right. Talking about this rematch, what do you? I mean, so the one thing Tank always had for him, everyone, he had that kind of almost like Mike Tyson-esque, right? The air of invincibility, the knockout power. People were scared of him, that kind of thing. Do you think what Roach did to him, moving up in weight, and not being a big puncher himself, but able to withstand Tank, that kind of his air of invincibility has maybe been slightly diminished?
I won't say it's been diminished, but I do think that more people, more fighters that probably were afraid of him are not going to be afraid of him anymore.
And do you think that's almost something that could play in Tank's hand, right? Maybe we had an off day, everybody has an off day, and take him.
Yeah, everybody can have off night, but I think the one thing that is the most important thing that nobody's talking about is the fact that
the rematch is Las Vegas. Location honors the city's boxing heritage despite doubts from fans familiar with Davis's Saudi Arabia fights. Regardless, the June rematch heightens global expectation for boxing fans.
The good rumor is that Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach are going to be rematching possibly June 21st in Las Vegas. I don't know if Vegas just wanted to fight off the publicity, especially with Turkey taking a lot of fights over to Riyadh, or they didn't want to return back to New York State Athletic Commission after they did Lamont Roach dirty. But Lamont said the terms were already agreed on for a rematch. He just had to sign it, so it seemed like it's going to be this Vegas summer blockbuster. It's probably going to be the biggest fight of the year as far as in the United States. So it'll be interesting. Nevada State Athletic Commission don't play, but we'll see how it goes.
Shakur Stevenson, another top fighter in the lightweight class, weighed in on the upcoming rematch between Davis and Roach. Stevenson, who has sparred with Lamont Roach in the past, shared his opinion that Roach could have the upper hand in a second fight. He praised Roach's unique style, adding that it was different from anything Davis had faced before.
What does the rematch look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
You were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that he was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style, with Tank's style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it. So,
did you really win 20 rounds?
I swear to God, on my daughter's life, I won that much money.
How different does a rematch look in your opinion, Shakur? What adjustments do you think we see from both?
Huh?
What adjustments do we see from both in a rematch?
I think I can't tell you game plans. I could be fighting these guys, so I'm gonna keep my secrets to myself. But truthfully, they both good fighters.
Do you think it's a lot different rematch, or do you think it'll be close again?
It's gonna be a hell of a fight.
How did you see Tank in that fight? A lot of people are saying maybe he's just mentally not there. What did you see?
Nah, he was the same Tank. I don't believe that. I don't got no thought in my brain that makes me think that he wasn't the person he been all of these other fights. I think he was the same person. All this stuff that he going through stuff. I mean, everybody go through stuff. So he's the same fighter. He's going to be the same fighter throughout his career. So
Lamont Roach has been vocal about his unhappiness with the officiating during his first fight against Gervonta Davis. He has repeatedly stated that referee Steve Willis made several mistakes during the bout, including failing to give points to Roach during crucial moments. Roach thinks that Willis's actions were biased and significantly impacted the outcome of the fight.
Obviously the part with the grease in the eye, that took on a life of its own. You know what I'm saying? That was a headline in the fight. One is, what did you think when he said that initially, just like the grease in the eye? But two is like, when you was in the fight, was there any point that you saw that? Like, did you see like him kind of messing with his eye, or did you have any indication that that was something that was bothering him?
No, see, and that's the thing. If you look at the whole fight, he was never bothering his eyes before
you jabbed him.
Before I jabbed him. Even that right hand that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed, he kind of rolled with it. But after that, you could see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you could see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say, it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me, because I'm right beside him, you could see me like, nigga, what you talking about? So,
But you say you don't think he willing though.
Whatever. See, but who cares? Like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye.
Yeah, it don't matter.
Spit fuck around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on,
Take no
ref.
time out.
You can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
Right.
No.
Pops, it's a no?
Hell no.
Yeah, fuck that
Fuck,
nigga.
yeah.
You know how many
Coach Ben on him, man. He lucky he ain't running Coach Ben out of that fight.
But look how many times he fucked the fight up though. The knee, him going to the corner to get assistance, like who knows? Not saying that they did any cheating shit or nothing like that. But like he wiped his face with a towel. You can't do that.
Right.
You can't do none of that. That's a disqualification. You turned your back on the ref after you took a knee. Usually the ref will be like, all right, he don't want to fight no more. Fight's off.
Ozianis, the father and trainer of rising star Jiren Butsanis, offered his perspective on the first fight between Davis and Roach, and believed that Gervonta Davis should have been disqualified for an illegal knee in the first fight, but the system finally worked in his favor, giving him an advantage. Ennis pointed out that the referees seemed to side with Davis, which, in his opinion, led to an unfair result.
Saying that he won the fight, you know what I mean? You know, and then that when he took that knee, that really was supposed to be a disqualification, you know what I mean? And then you can't go to the corner and get your eyes wiped, you know what I mean, with a towel and all that, you know what I mean? Anybody else would have got disqualified or getting points taken away, some, you know what I mean? So other than that, you know what I mean, that's where I look at it.
As far as game plans go, how should Gervonta Davis approach this fight?
I think something might have been on Tank mind. You know what I mean? Because he didn't fight the way he normally fight. To me, I mean that's the way it looked to me. You know what I mean? You know, like something was on his mind. He was worrying about something. I mean, but he still fought good though. You know what I mean? But like he normally do. You know what I mean?
If you're Lamont, do you press the action early or do you do exactly what you did in the first fight? Whereas they'll press him after round 6, round 7, round 8.
I think he needed to press the fight more and stay busy. You know what I mean? You know, because he looked good. Like I said, both of them look good. You know what I mean? Can't take that away from neither one of them. That was a beautiful fight, man.
Should the rematch happen next, or should Tank maybe take a Shakur, a Lomachenko?
You said Tank?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if it don't happen next, you know what I mean? If it don't happen next, Lamont gonna wind up fighting Shakur.
Mikey Garcia, past world champion, also weighed in on the upcoming rematch between Davis and Roach. According to Garcia, Davis would make changes in the rematch and avoid the mistakes he made in the first fight. He thought that Davis's ability to learn from his past performances would give him the edge in the rematch. However, Garcia also warned that if Davis was dealing with any mental problems or distractions, he should not step into the ring unless he was fully focused and ready to fight.
Hopefully, you know,
I think Tank wins in the rematch.
Why?
I think he'll make the right adjustments and he won't take too long to fight. He kind of gave a lot of the round away sometimes. I think he'll be more active and then he'll win. But big props to Roach for his last fight and performance. Fuck, surprised everybody.
Right.
I think he was robbed from the victory. Again, that knockdown should have been a knockdown.
Right.
But whatever, he gets a rematch, you know. And maybe they get a third fight, you know, after that. Who knows? Maybe
it turns out
maybe it turns out to be another great fucking matchup, and they say, you know what, let's run it back.
Right.
And maybe that controversy from the first fight actually helps Roach fucking get 3 fights out of it instead of just the one, or you know, you never know. So hey, things happen for a reason, and I think he did really well in his first one. Hopefully he puts on a great fight, even if he were to lose, but in a great fight. He'll get a third fight, you know?
Coach Kenny Ellis, who has worked with several notable boxers, gave his thoughts on the upcoming rematch between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach. Ellis was not overly confident about Davis's chances in the second fight, saying that if the rematch were to happen, it would be a 50-50 its contest. Ellis acknowledged that both fighters had their strengths and weaknesses, and the result of the rematch would largely rest on how each fighter adapted to the other's style.
What happened? I really don't know. Anything can happen, man. You know, possibility. Possibility. I would love to see a rematch, but it may happen, it may not. You know, life goes on. You know, life goes on.
What would you say if how would you feel like the media would per se see it if the fight wasn't to happen?
50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50-50.
You would have people that wouldn't care, people that would care.
Yeah, just like this. Some people say Lamont won, some people say Tank won, you know?
Teofimo Lopez, another prominent figure in the boxing world, shared his take on the aftermath of the Davis vs. Roach fight. Lopez pointed out that following the unusual draw, Davis found himself somewhat isolated, with many people questioning his place in the boxing community. The result of the fight led to increased scrutiny of Davis's career, with some fans and analysts quick to criticize and undermine his skills. Lopez suggested that the controversy surrounding the fight had left Davis in a vulnerable situation where his reputation was on the line and his standing as a top fighter was being questioned. This only added to the pressure Davis faced as he prepared for the rematch, knowing that many were eager to see if he could bounce back from the controversy and show his worth in the ring.
I know a lot of people, look what they did with Gervonta too. I want everybody, all these young fighters that are listening to this, and you could clip this. It's a short part right here.
I got you.
To Ryan could clip this right here. To all you young fighters, look at the amount of love they were giving and sharing to Gervonta Tank Davis prior to the fight. Look at what all the reporters were doing prior to the fight. Look how they were all laughing at all his jokes prior to his fight against Lamont Roach. After the fight, look how many were waiting to down this man. Down him. See, I'm gonna talk my smack with Tank, but that's because I want to fight him. That's me. I can say that. But I just want all you young fighters to really look about it. They don't care about us.
Yeah.
They won't ever care about us. When you winning, they're gonna be there. But they're waiting for any moment to slip up. Just a man, even a draw. Look how much hate he got out of it.
Yeah, not to get deep, but you know, it's a part of our psychology. We have to learn how to care about other people. You know what I mean?
That's it for today's movie. Stay tuned until next.